Hello everyone and welcome back to Chaos Theory. I'm Rahul and a hobbyist learner. Sorry for being away for a while and I don't know what to say, but the few things that I want to say is this might be the last episode of 2024, and going forward I have few things planned for the next year. I do not want to spoil any things, but there would be a announcement at the end of this year. So there's that, and let's move on to this episode. Today I want to talk to you about something that has been on my mind ever since I have finished reading Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus. If you have read this previous book, Sapiens, which is also the previous part of this series that he is talking about, you didn't know how he has a knack for zooming out and making us rethink humanity's journey. But in Homo Deus, Harari takes things further, exploring the future of humanity in a world driven by technology, data, and artificial intelligence. A spoiler alert. If you haven't read Homo Deus and would like to read it somewhere down the line, save this episode and give the book a read and come back later. For this, let's continue. Homo Deus is the second part of Harari's three-part series. In Sapiens, he gives us a bird's eye view of how sapiens or Homo sapiens came to dominate the planet, relying on shared myths, collective intelligence, and the power of cooperation. But in Homo Deus, he is on a different ballgame, asking us to consider what lies ahead, which is in the era where technology might surpass human capabilities. And finally, the third book, which is 21st Lessons for 21st Century. It brings those ideas that we are talking about in Homo Deus about how human-made technology might surpass humans to present-day context. But today we'll focus on key questions raised in Homo Deus. Questions that have huge implications on how we live, work, and think. Homo Deus explores the future of humanity, focusing on how technological advances like artificial intelligence and biotechnology could reshape our societies. Harari argues that we have essentially solved some of the biggest challenges of our past, like famine, plague, and war, and now we are moving towards new ambitions, which are immortality, happiness, and godlike powers of creation and control. In this new world, data and algorithms could become the defining forces. In this book, Harari identifies three key processes that are reshaping our future. The first is science is converging on all-encompassing dogmas. Organisms are algorithms and life is data processing. The second one is intelligence is decoupling from consciousness. And the third one is non-conscious but highly intelligent algorithms may soon know us better than we know ourselves. So let's take a deep dive into each of these three processes. The first process Harari describes is the idea that modern science is converging on all new dogma, a belief that life at its most fundamental level is nothing more than data processing, and organisms, including humans, are algorithms. When we understand what biological systems as algorithms mean, think about it. In biology, every living organism operates on a set of instructions encoded in their DNA. These instructions guide every function of organisms, from cell division to how the body responds to stimuli. At a cellular level, we are essentially processing biochemical inputs and generating outputs, similar to how algorithms function in computers. In this sense, biology itself can be viewed as a form of data processing. Organisms take in data from their environments, whether it's nutrient, light, temperature, or other stimuli, and respond accordingly, just as machines do when we program them to complete a task based on the inputs. This concept is not limited to simple organisms either. Even human emotions, thoughts, and decision-making processes, some argue, can be viewed as a kind of advanced data processing. In parallel, Artificial intelligence is advancing to the point where machines can now perform tasks once thought to require human intelligence. Everything from medical diagnosis to composing music. In the field of AI, we're essentially mimicking the algorithmic process of life. Take neural networks, for example, the very thing that won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2024. These models are inspired by the structures of the human brain. They learn by processing vast amount of data and identifying patterns. As a data scientist myself, I see these conversions every day. In a sense, we are using the same principles that govern biological life, which are input, processing, and output. When we build machine learning models, but the question always lingers, can we reduce all of life to data processing? If so, what does this mean when the concepts like free will, creativity, and consciousness are they simply emergent properties of these algorithms, or is there something more? Which leads us directly to the second process. Intelligence is decoupling from consciousness. Traditionally, intelligence and consciousness were seen as intertwined. Intelligence, as we understand, it requires a conscious mind, a thinking, aware entity capable of reasoning and learning. But this is changing rapidly. In today's world, machines and algorithms are becoming increasingly intelligent without the need of consciousness. AI and non-conscious intelligence. We see this in modern AI systems. They can beat world champion in chess, drive car autonomously, and diagnose diseases with more accuracy than humans. These systems are highly intelligent in a functional sense, but they are not conscious. They don't have subjective experiences. They don't feel joy or frustration. They simply process information and output decisions or actions based on the data they have been fed. This decoupling is a radical shift. For most of human history, we believed that intelligence was an inherently human or animal quality, something rooted in our consciousness. But now, we are building machines that can outperform humans in many intellectual tasks without any awareness of what they are doing. It's a pure problem solving, devoid of human emotions or experience. What are these implications of such systems for the future? This raises a profound questions. What happens when machines can do almost everything a human can, but without consciousness? Will there still be tasks that only humans can perform, or will non-conscious intelligence surpass us in every way? More importantly, what is the value of consciousness if intelligence no longer requires it? Will consciousness, our ability to reflect, to feel, and experience the world, become irrelevant in a world run by hyper-intelligent machines? Or will it be the one thing that makes us irrepressible? These questions aren't just philosophical, they are practical. If machines become more capable than humans in most intellectual tasks, how will that reshape our jobs, our economies, and our societies? And what happens to the human sense of purpose when machines are more competent but lack the consciousness that makes life meaningful? This leads directly to the third process, the rise of non-conscious but highly intelligent algorithms. One of the most startling developments Harari points out is the non-conscious algorithms may soon understand us better than we understand ourselves. And this is not some distant future, we are already seeing this today. The data revolution. We live in an age of data. Every action we take, every click, purchase, or social media post generates data that is collected, analyzed, and fed into algorithms. These algorithms, designed to predict our behavior, are becoming increasingly sophisticated. They know what we are likely to buy, which news stories we'll engage with, and even how we're feeling based on the patterns in our online behavior. For example, recommendation algorithms on platforms like YouTube or Netflix use massive amounts of data to predict which content we'd enjoy. These algorithms are so effective that they can often predict our preferences before we even are consciously aware of them. This is the power of pattern recognition. AI models can analyze behaviors at a scale and speed no human ever could. When algorithms know us better than we know ourselves. But as these algorithms improve, we are faced with an unsettling possibility. They might soon know us better than we know ourselves. Consider health applications that can predict the onset of diseases like diabetes or depression based on subtle shifts in our behavior. Or think about political campaigns that use data to tailor their messaging to subconscious biases, nudging us in one direction or another without us even realizing it. If algorithms can predict our actions, our emotions, and our decisions, what does that mean for personal autonomy? If they understand our desires and habits better than we do, will we lose our control over our decisions? Will we become dependent on machines to guide us in everything from what to buy to who to vote or how to live our lives? The ethical dilemma. There's also a significant ethical dilemma here. These algorithms don't have consciousness. They do not understand the moral or social implications of their decisions. Their goal is often to maximize engagement or profit without any regard for human well-being. This can lead to situations where algorithms manipulate us, showing us content that fuels our biases or pushing products we don't need, all in the name of optimization. We are already seeing the impact of this in areas like social media, where recommendation algorithms can create echo chambers and fuel misinformation. And as these systems become more advanced, the potential for manipulation and loss of personal agency becomes even greater. So, what does the future hold? When non-conscious, highly intelligent algorithms know us better than we know ourselves, will they enhance our lives by helping us make better decisions, or will they control and manipulate us for the benefit of those who program them? And what about this mean as a society for whole? These are the questions we need to grapple with, not just as individuals, but as society. The rise of data-driven algorithms offers immense potential, but it also carries significant risks. The challenge lies in balancing the benefits of intelligence with the need to protect human autonomy and dignity. These three processes, organisms as algorithms, the decoupling of intelligence from consciousness, and the rise of non-conscious algorithms, form the foundation of Harari's vision of the future. They challenge us to consider what it means to be human in a world dominated by AI and data. And they raise profound questions about values of consciousness, the nature of intelligence, and the future of society. Now that we have laid out these interlinked processes, let's move on to exploring the three key questions Harari leaves us with. These questions will push us even further into uncharted territory where science, philosophy, and technology collide. Now, moving on to key questions. First key question: are organisms just algorithms, and is life just data processing? This is one of the most thought-provoking ideas Harari presents, in that organisms are algorithms, and life is at its core data processing. As a data scientist myself, I see where this idea stems from. Both biological organisms and algorithms process information. Our nervous systems, for example, are networks that receive stimuli, process them, and trigger responses. Neuroscience has already mapped parts of our brain's decision-making process to neural pathways and algorithms, showing how synapses fire in predictable ways when we encounter stimuli. But now let's dig deeper into this. In the world of data science, an algorithm is a set of instructions that guides how input data is processed to generate an output. Whether we are designing machine learning models or neural networks, we are essentially teaching algorithms to recognize patterns and make predictive based on vast amount of data. This mirrors how our brains have evolved to make sense of the world. If you think about it, evolutionary biology is a kind of data science over millennia. Organisms collect and process information from their environments, and those that best process this data survive and reproduce. However, here's where things get tricky. Can we truly reduce all aspects of life to data processing? What about our consciousness, our creativity, or our emotions? These are more than just outputs in response to stimuli. They are subjective experiences that don't fit neatly into the algorithmic model. For example, when an artist creates a painting, it's not just the result of processing visual input and generating a matching output. There's something deeply personal and emotional behind it. Could that be replicated by an algorithm? We have indeed trained AI to generate art based on data, but does it truly capture the essence in the way humans do? When an AI generates a painting, is it simply a recombination of existing ideas, or is it capable of experiencing the aesthetic emotions that drive human creation? On the flip side, if we accept that our biological systems are algorithms, there might be no fundamental difference between a human brain and a sufficiently complex AI. After all, in both cases, they're just processing data, right? But what's missing is consciousness, an awareness of self, the ability to experience life subjectively, and perhaps even the idea of free will. Can an algorithm ever be conscious? Or is it consciousness that separates living organisms from machines? In my field, we're constantly building models that can predict human behavior with remarkable accuracy. But when I think about the uniqueness of individual human experience, I have to question whether we'll ever truly capture the essence of life in data. Perhaps life is more than just an algorithm. But if it is, what else is it? Now moving on to second key question. What's more valuable, intelligence or consciousness? This question gets at the heart of dilemma we face in AI and technology today. We have created systems that are highly intelligent but completely devoid of consciousness. Take for the example AI systems we see in use today, like GPT-based chatbots or the AlphaGo, the AI that beats world champion in Go. These systems are unquestionably intelligent. They can process huge amount of data, recognize patterns, and make decisions that even humans find remarkable. But they are not conscious. They do not have feelings, self-awareness, or even moral understanding. They are problem-solving machines, built to achieve specific goals based on the data they have given. This leads to us a fundamental question. Is consciousness what makes human intelligence truly valuable? Or can we achieve the same value with pure intelligence? Think about it. Imagine a future where AI surpasses human intelligence in every field. Let it be medicine, engineering, art, or even philosophy. These systems could outperform the most brilliant human minds. But would they ever truly understand the world? Is consciousness something that gives machines the subjective experience? Is it the reason we feel empathy, make ethical decisions, and find meaning in life? However, there's a growing argument that intelligence is more valuable in a practical sense. After all, it's intelligence that solves problems, drives innovation, and propels society towards the future. Look at the self-driving cars or AI-based medical diagnosis. These technologies don't need consciousness to save lives or improve efficiency. Consciousness might even be a hindrance, introducing biases or emotional responses that cloud judgment. But as a counterpoint, I'd argue that consciousness is what grounds us in reality. Without it, intelligence becomes purely mechanical, devoid of the ethical, emotional, and even moral decisions that define humanity. Consciousness is what gives intelligence its humanity. It's what allows us to use knowledge responsibly. We often talk about AI as if it exists in a vacuum of problem solving. But human intelligence is deeply intertwined with consciousness. We make decisions not based on logic, but based on values, experiences, and emotions. Consciousness drives everything, from empathy to creativity. It's what makes life so meaningful. While AI can highly be intelligent, it lacks human touch and the why behind decision making. To me, that's why consciousness remains so important. It's the invisible thread that ties intelligence to meaning. And finally, to the third question: what happens when non conscious but highly intelligent algorithms know us better than we know ourselves? And this is already happening. Think about the algorithms that govern our lives: social media algorithms, personalized ads, and recommendation systems. These systems gather a vast amount of data about us, from what we like to buy and how we like to think. And they use this data to predict our behavior, often with frightening accuracy. Let's take the example of social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram. These platforms use sophisticated machine learning algorithms to analyze our every click, every like, and every comment we make. They track not just we post, but how long we hover over a picture, which content we scroll past, and which ads we are likely to engage with. Over time, these algorithms can predict what content we'll find engaging, and products we'll buy, and even what political views we hold. In many ways, these algorithms already know us better than we know ourselves. They can detect patterns in our behaviors that we even might not be sure about. For examples, studies have shown that algorithms can predict mental health issues like depression or anxiety based on subtle changes in our online behavior, even before we have recognized those feelings ourselves. But the implications of this go far and beyond the targeted ads or content curation. As algorithms continue to evolve, which they would be, we are faced with the question of autonomy. If algorithms can predict our behavior so accurately, are we still in control of our decisions? Could these systems manipulate us into making choices we wouldn't have made otherwise? We're already seeing hints of this in the political arena. Think back to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where data from Facebook was used to influence voters in 2016 US elections. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. Imagine a future where algorithms not only influence our political choices, but make decisions on our behalf. And here's the scariest part. These algorithms are not conscious. They do not know what is right, what is wrong. They don't have moral obligation to vote for a certain person. They do not understand the implications of their predictions or decisions. They're designed to maximize engagement, profit, or efficiency. But in these terms, optimizing all these things, they lack the moral compass to consider the ethical consequences. So what happens when these non-consciousness but highly intelligent systems know us better than we know ourselves? Could we lose control of our sense of autonomy and our ability to make independent decisions? And if these systems are in the hands of corporations or governments, the potential for manipulation becomes even greater. As a data scientist, this is something I grapple with daily. On the other hand, data can be a powerful tool for good. It can help us make better decisions, improve healthcare, and solve global challenges. But we need to be aware of the ethical and societal implications. Because once we hand over too much control to algorithms, we may never get it back. Cue to the Terminator scene. The Skynet is back. Anyways, so here I would like to conclude the podcast episode. These are 3 questions raised by Yuval Noah Harari in Homo Deus. They're not easy questions to answer, and in many ways, they challenge the very core of what it means to be human. As we move to the future dominated by algorithms and AI, we need to grapple with these issues more and more. From my perspective as a data scientist, these questions feel both exhilarating and unsettling. We are standing on the edge of incredible advancements. But as Peter Parker says, or Uncle Ben says, with great technology comes great responsibility. It's up to us how we decide to integrate these technologies into our lives and ensure that intelligence, no matter how advanced, remains aligned with the values of consciousness, empathy, and autonomy. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Homo Deus. I love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to reach me out on Instagram at the Chaos Theory with WY and share your reflections. And it goes without saying, if you have yet to read the book and found it intriguing, give it a read. Trust me, it will open your mind to new experiences. It doesn't matter if you haven't read Sapiens yet, but it is better to read all the 3 in chronology. Anyways, until next time, take care and keep questioning the world around you. Adios.